All right, we have a fresh session of Cubase here, and we want to go over how to start a session, a recording session. So the first thing you want to do once you open up a brand new session in Cubase AI, you go to your studio setup. We want to check your audio interface, make sure that's what Cubase is using to record and to play back. We see on mine, it's set up that way. We want to make sure that the sample rate is set to 48K, or sometimes it's 44.1, depending on how you want your system set up. You want everything to match. So my system is set up to 48K. That's pretty good, a pretty good setup. And then your buffer size is also important when it comes to recording. So you want it between 32 and 128 when we're recording. This uses more CPU on listening to the recording and decreasing the amount of latency between you speaking into the microphone, it going into the computer, and you being able to hear it back. So you want that between 32 and 128. If you say you did a recording or you're speaking into your microphone and it sounds gritty or like you hear digital artifacts, then just so you had it at 64 and just, bring it up a little higher. It's 128. All right. And then once you start mixing and mastering, you say you finish your audio session and you're just doing mixing, you're not recording, then you can set it between 512 and 1024. Right. So, and it's depending on your CPU and your processing power, you'll have to you can play around with it a little bit. So it may be some trial and error in that, but for recording 128 is about where you want it, about the highest buffer rate you want it to be set to. All right. Next, look at this area and make sure that your inputs and outputs are active. Right. So here's all my ins and outs. This is my audio interface. It has 8 inputs, 8 outputs. Yours might have 1 or 2. So just make sure this, it says active and it's checked. It's visible. Your computer, Cubase sees it, right? All right. So we know that things are physically hooked up, right? Now we want to make sure that the routing in Cubase is set up right. So now you go to audio connections. When in the inputs. So we'll say, let's get rid of these and say you open up a session and there's nothing there. If there's nothing there, then just hit add bus. And then we'll say mic, and we'll say stereo. We'll do one stereo and one mono, just to help you troubleshoot a potential problem. One mono, and we'll say mic mono. All right, there we go. So make sure your audio interface is selected, and then you see your inputs. So if your audio interface only has one input, then it will only show one. But if it has more than one, then you'll have options. In mono, it's the same thing. But we want to use one. My microphone is hooked up to input 1, so for both setups, I have it input 1 selected, and then same thing for output. You may or may not have one already there. If you don't see anything there for your outputs, once again, we click add bus, output, name it. We want stereo configuration. That way you can pan it left and right. All right. Make sure your audio interface is selected, and then your left speaker and your right speaker is selected. My audio interface has multiple outputs, so I can choose. Yours might have just 2 stereo. Most come with a left and a right. So left is always 1, right is always 2, output 2. All right. And now you should be able to hear yourself and record things into Cubase. Now you have an empty space here and you say, hey, now I'm ready to record my track. So we'll right click here, hold down right click, and then hover over add audio track. A window like this will pop up, the add track window. All right. And we'll color code it. So you want to color code from the start, right? And then we'll do another one, add track. We'll do a mono. We'll choose mic mono, leave it in stereo configuration, outputs. For you, you just choose output. For me, I'm going to choose session wire so you can hear what I'm doing. And then we'll call this mic mono for demonstration. Color code, red, boom. All right. All right, we're there. All right, so now you have our audio tracks ready to record on. So when you record, make sure record enable is enabled. If you don't and you press record, then it's not going to record. So record enable, as it sounds, does just that. It enables you to record on tracks. You can do one track at a time, or you can do multiple tracks at a time by just holding down the control key and selecting more than one. All right, but we're just doing one. All right. All right, next is monitor. So in order to hear yourself, to monitor yourself, your input, your microphone live while you're recording, you need to be enabled like this. So now let's look, and something's wrong here. It's only showing on the left side. So now we've got to fix that. It's only coming on the left side, right? So to fix that, change this configuration here to mono by just clicking on it, and now it shows up on both sides. All right, so let's do a recording. Check, 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 check. And if you want to hear yourself while you're recording, make sure monitor is enabled. Sometimes I don't want to hear myself while I'm recording, so now I'll just record something. So before we record, we'll make sure that the metronome is set, and this is like a countdown before you start recording. It gives you a chance to kind of set yourself up or prepare yourself to record, and it'll give you like a four beat countdown. I left clicked here, it opened up metronome setup, and make sure that it's set to outputs, and now it should see it. Now, when I hit record, you should hear a counting. And there it goes. Now it's recording. Test, test, test. All right, that's good. And now I can play back. And there it goes. Now it's recording. Test, test, test. Now, if you don't hear yourself, if you don't hear it playing back, then you probably have monitor enabled. But remember, if that's enabled, it's only going to listen for the mic live, like you were doing a Zoom call, right? So if I press play, yeah, it's not playing back. All you can hear is me. But turn it off. It'll play back. Okay, there it goes. Now it's recording. Test, test, test. There you go. And then say you're doing the podcast and you mess up, you can use 2 tracks. One way to use 2 tracks is to do 1 track, and then you can either like do the whole thing and then note where things that you wanted to edit, just use other track to record again. And there it goes. Now it's recording. Start recording. Test, test, test. I just want to record here because it's where I want to edit something. And then now you have both playing back. It's recording. Test, test, test. I just want to record here because it's where I want to edit something. All right. And that's that. So that's how you can record. And then you can either do like a manual punch in like I just did, or you can set locators to punch in as well. So, and that's a whole nother, I have another video on that where I kind of go into that. So if you're interested in punching in, check out the video that I made on how to do punch ins. Once you're done recording, now you want to make sure you click save your session. If this is the first time saving, then it'll probably come up with this option to asking you where you want to save the file. You name it, put it in here. I've already saved this file as with a name, and that's it. And that's the end of your session.